Good day, everyone. Al Height here with the Al Height Show. Listen, this is another day of the Al Height Show. We are so thankful that you guys are taking time out of your day to spend with us to listen to our podcast. Today, I have a very special guest that's going to tell you a little bit about her business, Miss Mary Powers. And we did a brief interview with her initially a few weeks ago, but it was with the group of folks. But this time, as I stated then, that each one of them will have an opportunity to be on individually to tell you a little bit more about them personally and the business that they do, not only with ANHSCA, but their own personal business. And so we strive to make sure that we encourage people to have an opportunity to present their business and that it may be able to help someone else out. Well, before I bring Mary on today, I want to say to you, wow, it's a lot going on in our world. So many things. But I want to let you know that always put your mind on to do what's right. And so no matter what's going on in the world around you, sometimes you see good things, bad things. The news is so prevalent everywhere we turn around. But I would encourage you to put your mind on things that are good, focus on things that are right, and make sure that you are accompanied around other people who think like-minded like you in the sense of being kind to other folks. So I always encourage folks to do those things here. I do it at the beginning of my show and at the end of the show there. And so many things are going on. But nevertheless, keep encouraged and do what you know is right. Do what you know is right. All right. With that being said, folks, I want to introduce you to one of my good friends, Miss Mary Powers. Mary Powers, I've known her for a few years now, and she is an awesome person. She has a few different companies that she has. She is such a great inspiration. And you will have an opportunity to learn more about her and what she does. And so I want to welcome Miss Mary Powers on to the Al Height Show today and give her a chance to tell a little bit more about herself. And welcome aboard, Mary. How are you today?
Well, thank you, Al, and thanks for having me on your show.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. As I stated before, in the past, I had you on just a few weeks back, and you were with the rest of the crew from ANHSCA. But today is your day, individual, just for Mary Powers itself. And so we want to give the audience an opportunity to meet Miss Mary Powers. And I want you to share whatever you want to share about yourself. Now, I know that you have a few businesses, and I know a little bit about your story, but let me break away and let you have an opportunity to tell the audience about yourself, and then I'll ask you a few questions in that regards. All right, Mary, it's your show.
Well, thank you again, Al. I appreciate the opportunity to highlight myself and my businesses. As Al said, I'm Mary Powers. I'm based in the Washington, D.C. area. I came to the United States in 1986. I was almost 9. And since then, I've been able to live the American dream. And it's thanks to my grandfather who served in the world wars and the various wars of the U.S. That he's the very reason I'm here. And I'm very thankful for that. And when I say that I've been able to live the American dream, I'm saying that I've been able to get a good education and live, be able to be an entrepreneur, which doesn't happen in many places. So fast forward, I have my own consulting business called Magent. And what it is basically a business development, strategic capture, and profit acceleration consultancy. I work with primarily lawyers who are looking for coaching on how to be a better business developer, because I can assure you, after working for a law firm for 20 years, they do not get one-on-one coaching like I provide. And I have sat through all of the trenches of developing business for law firms and lawyers. So that's what my primary practice is under Magent, but I also do international projects with lawyers and other professionals. So that's one side of my business. The other side of it is, which goes hand in hand with Magent, because I I help people become more profitable, is the Starfish business that I'm in. And essentially what that is it helps people save money and make money too if they want, if they understand how our financial system is set up and that it's set up against them, they'll want to learn more about Starfish. So those are my two primary businesses. You're on mute, Al.
Thank you, Mary. Well, what a wonderful story that is. And not only that, it's just not a regular story. It's a true story. So that you immigrated from here, from the Philippines to America, and knowing that your grandfather has participated in helping out our country in world wars, and you are able to live the American dream. And it isn't that you just lived the American dream. It looked like you worked hard for that. It just wasn't given to you. You put time and effort into that. So that's great. I always love hearing stories about how people immigrated to the Americas, or in this case, to the United States, and the effort that it takes for you to put in there. And it's like anyone who truly put their mind to anything, that they can be what they want to be. At least that's what this country has been about for many years now. That if you come here and you have a dream and you want to start a business, become an entrepreneur, and live the American dream, that you're able to do that. And we want that for many other people. And I know a little bit about your Starfish business, and I was glad to learn more about your Magent business as well. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your Magent and your Starfish one? I know a little bit about the Starfish, but I understand when you said that, hey, you help them, that it could be sort of a quagmire, I guess is the word, for lawyers who are getting off into business, and how they can be more successful or organizing themselves. So, that was great to hear. Tell me a little bit about, how do you go about doing that?
Sure. Well, first, I don't work with every single lawyer. I only work with those who are actually hungry and motivated, because those are the two things I can't give to them. If they're not hungry and motivated, it's just not going to work. But there are lots and lots of talented lawyers out there who just have not gotten that hands-on coaching on how to build their practice. Because it starts with being able to be really good in human relations. And sadly, when you go into law school, they hammer you with the way a lawyer needs to think. And they could have the highest intelligent quotient out there in the world, but then they lose the other three intelligences, the emotional, social, and adversity quotients. So that's where I work with them on. Not only that, regaining those, and that's where sort of Starfish comes along, because Starfish is about developing people to maximize their own potential. But so there's some training that I incorporate into my coaching with lawyers there, but then I give them a roadmap. I actually give them a roadmap for, improving their foundations, the trust and expertise, and so on, foundations for their practice, whatever line of law that they practice. What are the foundations that will then accelerate the generation of more leads for whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish in the area of law. And then,
Well, let me ask you a question about that, Mary. And so, all that's great what you're saying, and that, boy, I would imagine that many folks, although you would think that attorneys are always busy, not all attorneys are always busy, and because you're right, human relations has a lot to do with it, and being in the right place at the right time. How do you go about getting your particular customers? I know that some are hungry, but how do you find these folks, or how do they find you?
a lot of them are personal relationships of mine. That goes back to human relations, right? These are people I used to work with in the law firm, my former employer, and they, a lot of lawyers go on to different law firms. So we stay in touch. They know what I do. They've worked with me when we work together. And they also refer me to other folks. But some of them are also in my Starfish business. So, because if you're looking for other streams of revenue, that one just makes sense. So in any event, it's all through human relationships, personal relationships of mine from many, for the last 25 years.
Well, that's great, Mary. I really appreciate you explaining a little bit more about Magent. Now let's talk about Starfish. So I met you through Alignable and got signed up in Starfish, and man, it is a great, surprising type of business. Can you share with the audience what Starfish is and how they can get involved?
Sure. Well, first of all, Starfish is a tool. It's a digital platform that you use. It's a different way of paying for things. By using it, you pay less for things you already buy. And if you want to create a business out of it, you have the option of becoming an owner of the platform. It is just a tool behind something that we call the consumer rebellion. But essentially, what it is, most people don't realize this. As I mentioned in the beginning, the financial system is against us. And people need to know that. And there is a way to overcome all the fees and the inflation and the debt that every American owes from compounding interest that the government has accumulated without our approval. So
I caught something that you said there, so I want to step back a little bit. You say that the financial system is against us. So, and I heard you say about the fees and all those other things. Tell me about how are they against us, and when you say that the financial agencies, explain that a little bit more so the audience can really understand what you're speaking about.
Well, I'm going to just make it very brief because this is a longer conversation.
Yeah.
But essentially, everybody knows our government doesn't make money. They make money from us, the citizens
Okay.
they tax, right?
Okay.
And in order to pay for their business, they have to tax us because they have borrowed so much money from banks that can create money out of nothing. When you can push a button and create $2 trillion, automatically, the ordinary citizen has no chance.
Wow.
So guess what? I think I mentioned this earlier, every single American owes about 1.1 million in compounding interest from the debt of our government. So that's number one. So the government has to tax us more to pay for those debts, the compounding debts. Two, businesses. Businesses themselves have to be taxed, right? They have their own debt service to the banks that create money out of nothing. Everybody's got all kinds of things bought on credit, student loans, auto loans, mortgage loans, and all kinds of loans, business loans, right? They have to pay for those. And how do we think they pay for those? They have to raise prices on us, right? And all those fees I'm talking about are from a lot of people are using credit cards nowadays to buy things that shouldn't be put on credit cards, but they do because when you are paid and 18-year-olds find this out, or whoever 16 to 17-year-olds find this out when they start working, they look at their paycheck wondering, where did the money go? Why did they take this money out? Yes, the government takes money out of your paycheck before you get paid, right? And your already taxed money is used to go to buy things in the store. Then you pay sales tax, right? And you got to file income tax. And then, if you die, you have to pay your heirs have to pay the death tax. So lots of taxes. And I go into this in my financial literacy courses through ANHSCA so that the younger, the middle and high school students know what's ahead. What's ahead. So at the end of the day, if you picture the banks in the middle and the government is on one side, they're taxing both businesses and households and people like us. And then the businesses are increasing, prices on us with inflation. Everybody talks about eggs and so on, but it's not just eggs. Everything else is expensive, right? And then households have to pay taxes, the higher prices, and our own debt service. So we are burdened three ways. And that is what Starfish is about, is to help people get around all of that.
All right. Well, that sounds great, Mary. You know what? So listen, many people don't know that. They just living life and they're spending money, and all they want to know is why is so much money being taken out of my paycheck, and how do I beat this, and why do they do it in the first place, and how do I get around it? One way of getting around it is to make sure not to go in debt. if possible. Sometimes you do because you have to buy a house and you don't have all the money up front. But man, there's so many ways about going about do that. And so you mentioned Starfish and some of the ways of getting beyond that. Tell us about Starfish in the sense of what can it do to help you?
Well, Starfish, we call it the way out. Depending on where your current financial situation is and where you want to be, everybody has to face this wall, the financial system of increasing debt, fees and inflation, right? And taxes, of course. So you can never get away from your tax service. So Starfish is the way out in the sense that it's a digital payment platform that helps people to become more financially responsible. When you're using a credit card or a debit card, most people don't know that you are paying into transaction fees. Transaction fees are about $125 billion, or I think it's $175 billion now. Every year that, the merchants have to pay the credit cards and debit cards for the privilege of being able to accept payment through a little plastic card. But guess what? They add that to the prices we're paying. So Starfish is a way that you can pay to get those fees returned to you from the merchants who participate in our platform.
Well, that's great, Mary. And so, you know what? How can someone get a hold to you to learn more about Starfish and Magent and just the things that you do? Because what you're saying is an amazing thing that can possibly help many people. Many of our listeners that are listening today probably never heard of Starfish and they probably just immerse in debt and want a way out, and they're looking for this thing in particular, an avenue or a platform in which that they could use to start wading out of some of the debt that they're in. How can they learn more about this? What do they need to do to get a hold of you or a representative to learn more about this particular platform?
Well, they can simply email me at mary@magent, magent.pro. And I can invite them to watch one of my information sessions online to learn more about the way out that we call, that's through the Starfish.
Okay, can you say that one more time again, just in case someone did not get it? That's
Sure. My email is Mary, Mary, at Magent, Magent. It's agent with an M in the front, .pro.
okay, great, everyone. So don't forget that, write that down and get a hold to Mary to learn more about Magent Starfish, so that you can begin your financial turnaround now, that you can get yourself out of debt and start learning to live debt free. Because man, your life will be so much better knowing that you are debt free. And I know so many of you want to do that. And so here's an opportunity to do this. Get a hold of Mary. And say your email one more time, Mary. We want to make sure that no one miss it.
It's Mary@magent.pro.
Okay, spell Magent one more time for them.
Magent. Just think of the word agent with an M in the front.
There you go, folks. Mary@magent.com so that you
Dot
can
pro.
dot chrome. I'm sorry.
Dot
Thank
pro.
you.
Pro.
Pro dot pro. Mary@magent.pro. Pro. That's important. Pro.com. Mary@magent.pro.com.
No, there's no .com. It's
Just
just .pro.
.pro. Okay, see there? We're so used to using .com. That's why we have to say it so many times. All right. Thank you, Mary. All right, before you go, we know that you are the Northeast Regional Manager for ANHSCA, and you also are the organizer and principal instructor for a couple of courses with ANHSCA. ANHSCA standing for the American National High School Championship Association. Can you tell us what things you have going on with ANHSCA right now and about the Octatank that you have coming up?
Sure. I am the program developer and Northeast Regional Representative for ANHSCA. My project right now is teaching financial literacy to middle and high school students through the member portal. I think it's for the very reasons I stated in this podcast. I want our middle and high school students to know what they're going to be up against, and I want them to set them up for financial success. Because honestly, a lot of households aren't teaching financial literacy because they don't practice it, and it's not taught in schools and so on. But through ANHSCA, your middle and high school students, if you have some, can learn financial literacy early on. So that's one. Two, I am organizing the next virtual octo tank. Essentially, what it is for students, middle school and high school students can participate in at a contest where they highlight their business ideas and present them in front of actual business owners. So very similar to Shark Tank, except it's less scary and it's online. You can do it from the comfort of wherever you are. It is on June 28th. More details to come on that. But essentially, even if you're on vacation, you can participate online. So we don't accept vacation as an excuse not to participate because it is online. And then I will also be working with Al and ANHSCA to offer personal development courses through a club, personal development club. Same things that I'm doing with the lawyer clients I have, because these are things, again, that are not taught in schools, and it's early on. If we can create better people with better human relation skills, we have a better society in our world.
How great is that? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from the great Mary Powers. I call her the great Mary Powers. She is so busy. And you know what? She has taken time out of her life. She could really just be doing this for herself and just keeping all this great information and just taking care of herself and her own family. But she has chosen on her own to provide an outlook for other folks and an intake as well for people to learn this business, because she wants to help them. She don't want to just hoard it and keep it to herself. She wants other people to be financially free and out of debt as well. And not only that, we're talking about teaching young students, middle school through high schools, how to also take on these same traits, because that's what happens. If we don't learn these tools and these behaviors while we're young, we make these mistakes. And we don't want the next generation going into the same thing with all the debt that we have and lined up like many of the folks have today. We want them to live free. We want them to be free of debt. And the only way that you can learn these principles is to learn them as a youngster. And so, and as she stated, many of these things are not taught in our high schools or throughout our schools in this nation. And so with ANHSCA, American National High School Championship Association, that Mary and I are both a part of, we teach our students right from the very beginning how to be smart and very prudent about their time, their efforts, their health, mind, soul, and body, physically and spiritually, in the so to speak of how to make sure that they are prepared for the world that we're living in today. And we want to give them a great platform and a great opportunity to associate with people who are like-minded in doing the same thing. So again, I want to thank my special guest today, Mary Powers, for taking time out to spend with us, and to spend with you on the Al Height Show and ANHSCA Show, to tell about what she does, how she came to this country, how she's living the American dream. And not only that, now she's sharing what she has learned with others so that they can too be financially successful, not only financially, but mind, body, and soul. I say that in the sense that when you are free like that, man, there's nothing like being debt free and not owing anyone anything and having a knowledge. So no excuse, like she said, for you not knowing any of this stuff. Now we're giving you an opportunity, even with the small youngsters, middle through high school students that want to join in the Octo Tank contest, similar to the Shark Tank, where you get to present your business ideas to real businesses and get feedback from them. How great is that? Wow. I want to say thank you, Mary Powers, again, for joining us on the Al Height Show. And we look forward to speaking with you again as the Octo Tank contest comes up here in June. And she said you can do it all online. And if you're interested in becoming a member of ANHSCA and or even signing up for the Octatank and presenting your business, go to ANHSCA.com, ANHSCA.com. Go to membership and sign up for one of the clubs. Or you look at the event. You don't have to necessarily be a member of ANHSCA to participate. We would love for you to be a member, but you don't have to. But go there and to the website, look at our information, sign up if you want to, even if you want to just donate to our cause. We would love to have you. So once again, thank you, Mary Powers, for joining us on the Al Height Show today. And folks, I want to say to you, we thank you so much for taking time out to spend with ANHSCA. It is not always easy to take time out of your day to just share, because your time is valuable. So thank you for taking time out with the Al Height Show. And like I always say, we like to leave you on a good note. And the good note today is that always be kind, always be nice, be patient with one another, be understanding, be real. Take time out for yourself. You can never get time back, so do not waste it. Again, you can never get time back, so do not waste it. Be kind to people and let them be kind to you. And if they're not, keep it moving. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, and thank our special guest today, Mary Powers, and we look forward to seeing you again at another show of the Al Height Show with ANHSCA products and everything else that goes with it. Thank you again, and have a